What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and I'm an old man. I was getting ready to go to bed after playing a little Division 2. Got some internet back in the house, and then I got a beautiful notification that the Philadelphia Eagles have acquired running back Jordan Howard from the Chicago Bears for a 2026 round pick that could potentially go into a 5th rounder. And I'm going to have to talk about this because this is a trade I have been pounding the table for since even before last year's trade deadline because it makes so much sense. Jordan Howard was a running back that in, 2016, ex-Chicago Bear GM, current Philadelphia Eagle GM, Joe Douglas fell in love with, selected him in the 5th round, was definitely, maybe arguably, the best value pickup in that entire draft because Jordan Howard, as a rookie, finished with 1,600 yards from scrimmage and 7 touchdowns and got the label of the most underrated running back in the NFL. And when we were talking about this rumor, this is not just, C4 was so much ahead of the curve, he called this one out of nowhere. There was rumblings that we could make this trade, but I was adamant that this needs to get done because Jordan Howard is a freak of nature. And I was, we're throwing around numbers. I was talking to a lot of Bears fans, and we came down to a 3rd, 4th rounder. Somewhere in that range is what it was going to cost to bring in Jordan Howard. Because he's 24, 23, 24. He's going to be on his last year of his deal. So, you need to understand that you're getting a nice running back that has been very productive behind an average to above average offensive line in the National Football League. But he's no longer a scheme fit. I don't really know why he's not necessarily a scheme fit for Matt Nagy. But, hey, if you want to give Tariq Cohen more snaps, go for it. He's a very electrifying player. And the more times he can make some wild plays as a neutral that does support the Bears to an extent. Most Bear fans, almost all Bear fans that are watching this, have known that last year the Bears were my dark horse team. They went on to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, they ran into the monster known as Nick Foles and couldn't get the job done. But I like watching the Bears play. And Jordan Howard, he just looked out of sorts last year, if you will. He still finished with almost 1,100 yards from scrimmage and 9 touchdowns. And this is a guy that is a sure-handed runner, does not fumble the football, is a power back, and is exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles need to get. And the fact that we were thinking, and almost in agreement, that it could cost a 3rd, probably a 4th. I was more so leaning 4th. But Philly comes out of nowhere, gives a future 6th that could turn into a 5th. I think most Bear fans right now are going to be like, what the insert bleep here. That is a robbery from the Philadelphia Eagles for a guy that is a legitimate starting running back in the National Football League. Jordan, I'm not gonna puff steam up the old chimney here and say Jordan Howard's a consensus top 10 back. But I think if you're listing a top 10 running back, Jordan Howard's right in that cusp. He's on the cusp of being a top 10 running back in the league. And then when you factor in his contract, he's had to make just over $2 million from a value standpoint to production standpoint. I think it's very much, you could argue he's in that 12 to 8 range if you're ranking the running backs. When it comes to value, in terms of play style, like I said, fringe top 10 running back. Now he's going to a team that has a better offensive line than he's ever had, and that's not, just throwing shade at the Chicago Bears. Bears have a very decent offensive line. You had Whitehair, who's pretty nice. Kyle Long's good when he's healthy. You brought in James Daniels last year, but ultimately the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is a grade above the Chicago Bears. So one would assume Jordan Howard's best football could be this upcoming season. He has not really struggled with injuries, which is A++ for the Philadelphia Eagles because we desperately need players that can stay on the field. And when you look at Jordan Howard, he comes in and he fits what we're trying to run. We're running a committee, and he has an upside to be that bell cow that so many Philadelphia Eagle fans wanted to overdraft Josh Jacobs at pick 25 for. So, and he fits our committee, like I said, because we have Corey Clement who can catch the ball at the backfield. There's still some uncertainty about what's going on with Darren Sproles. I'm going to be honest, kind of looking like he's going to retire or he won't be on the Eagles next year because I think they would, like they did with Jason Peters, they would kind of shore up that loose end sooner than later with Darren Sproles. But hey, maybe it is Darren Sproles being a little indecisive and kind of waiting around until the last minute to make his decision. But we'll definitely welcome back Darren Sproles on this roster. But a guy like Jordan Howard, he's big enough that he's not a liability in pass protection, which has been a big issue for Philadelphia Eagle running backs. He's our red zone guy. As much as Josh Adams and Wendell Smallwood had some moments last year, they're just spot pieces. They're just guys that they can help out if you really are hurt and banged up. They can come in and they can do the job for a little bit, but you don't want them being the feature acts of your running back by committee. I think Corey Clement definitely has a role on our team as our 3rd down back. We saw, just look at 2 years ago, some of the plays out of the backfield that Corey Clement made with Carson Wentz at the helm was spectacular. So I feel very confident putting Corey Clement in that role. But having a Clement-Jordan Howard tandem is very, very enticing. I think ultimately bringing in Jordan Howard for a 2026 rounder, which is what it is right now. And he's a guy that, he gets the label as a power back. He's 220, 230. But I mean, he averages almost like 25 balls caught a year. That's not bad. That's not just like a guy that just, like AP numbers, so that they don't throw him the ball. Like, he can do things out the backfield, but that's not going to be his role here with the Philadelphia Eagles. So, I mean, I'm ecstatic with this move. This is an exceptional move. It's very along the lines of what would happen when we got Jay from the Miami Dolphins. I mean, Jay had one more year of his contract on the books. We're only getting Jordan Howard for 1 year. But hey, running backs are becoming kind of cheap. Maybe there's a chance that Jordan Howard balls out. He will get a brand new contract with the Philadelphia Eagles. But another thing is because I have a mock draft series, and this could make things very intriguing because the Eagles definitely needed to address the running back spot before they got Jordan Howard. I personally think this now nips it in the bud that at pick 25 we're going to go Josh Jacobs. But I'm going to give you a spoiler. I had Philadelphia getting Josh Jacobs in the second round. And, one hand, I literally was thinking when I started this video, do I have to go back to that mock draft and redo everything and try to change things around? It's like, you know what? No, I'm not. Because, Jordan Howard's on a 1-year deal. It's pretty clear to me that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to, we're going to recycle backs. This is going to be a common trend where Philadelphia, we're just going to get a running back, keep him for 4 years on his rookie deal, move on. Jay, now we're done. Go to Jordan Howard, get him for a year for a 6th-round pick. And then I'm thinking, if Josh Jacobs is still there in the 2nd round, which is where I had Philadelphia getting him, you're probably still going to make that move. The more hungry backs in his backfield, the better. That is what our committee runs. And you know what sounds better than Jordan Howard and Corey Clement in our backfield? Jordan Howard, Josh Jacobs, and Corey Clement in our backfield. And then, from that, it's going to go on. But I think ultimately, I guess the question could be, C4, do you think Jordan Howard coming in means that we're not going to draft Josh Jacobs? Because I know that's probably a question that a lot of Eagle fans want, because a lot of Eagle fans do want Josh Jacobs. And I'm going to say, rule him out if he's there at pick 25. But if Josh Jacobs is still on the board when Philly comes to the pick 50 or something like that, I absolutely think they will jump on that. Because you got to remember that Philadelphia brought in the Alabama running backs coach, I think. O-line or running backs coach, one of the two. I can't remember at the top of my head because I'm doing this video pretty impromptu. So I feel like they are very interested in Josh Jacobs if the price is right. So when I'm just giving you the spoiler, if he's still there in the 2nd round for the Eagles, why not? The more backs, the merrier, especially with a team like Philadelphia. We can never have enough depth in any position. Seeing the injuries last year, seeing the injuries the year we won the Super Bowl, depth is paramount with this team, especially at a spot like running back where we saw last year injuries. Oh my God, we could not run the ball. And we came incredibly one-dimensional. But ultimately, the draft, Jordan Howard, all that stuff can be handled when it comes to the 2nd round, where me personally am comfortable selecting a player like that. Right now, though, we do have Jordan Howard as a new member of the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm very, very hyped, especially given the value. I think that even if you weren't on board with Jordan Howard, getting a guy like Jordan Howard with his history, with his pedigree for a 6th-round pick, even a 5th-round pick outright, is a robbery for the Philadelphia Eagles, and can't wait for the season, can't wait for the draft. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Let me know what you feel about this trade in the comment section below. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.